Kilauea volcano, Hawaii volcano discovery. Was this the reason for the 2018 Hawaii volcano eruption? We know that it's refilling, according to what's happening there. The spectacular Kilauea eruption of 2018 resulted in the destruction of hundreds of homes, the evacuation of thousands of people, and may have triggered in part by unusual high rainfall levels. This is what a new study suggests. Author James Farquharson has said he and his colleagues are now considering whether other volcanoes around the world could likewise be susceptible. The paper published in the scientific journal Nature magazine Wednesday suggests rainfall should be taken into account when considering reasons for eruptions, for example with Kilauea volcano on Hawaii's Big Island. Together with colleagues Falk Amelung, Mr. Farquharson found prior to the eruption, Hawaii experienced several months of heavy rainfall. Also, statistical analysis suggests from 1790 onwards, almost 60% of Kilauea's eruptions happened in rainy seasons, even though it's shorter than the dry season. He said he's from the University of Miami in Florida, and he says that the shallow surface, the subsurface around Kilauea was made up of the porous basaltic rock, which allows rainwater to seep into the ground. Of course, this is what occurs in most volcanoes. They have pumice and porous rocks. So, of course, the water gets trapped nicely inside. He said, as this happens, the fluid pressure inside void spaces in the rocks, fissures and cavities can increase. He says, in rock mechanics, we know that when fluid pressure is high, rock is mechanically weaker than otherwise. New fractures can be generated or old fractures can be reactivated. He explains, our theory is that this process forged new pathways for the magma to travel from a shallow reservoir up to the surface, ultimately giving rise to the eruption of 2018. As we know, they even have the fissure eruptions there. He says the mechanism which he envisions requires that the magma chamber and the reservoir of the molten rock in the earth crust underneath the volcano is ready to be tapped with rainwater. He explains the difference is a bit like pricking an inflated balloon with a pin. The balloon pops loudly, or pricked a deflated balloon, not much happens. It's not perfect analogy, but hopefully conveys the idea that there certainly needs to be other factors in play. And because of the dramatic way as Kilauea erupted in 2018, it's unlikely that the exact same conditions for this mechanism will occur again soon. He said this is speculation, though. It's not proved. A great deal of further research would have to be required in order to identify the precise conditions required. So he and his colleagues are trying to work out where their examples fit within the broader context. He says previously, researchers suggested links between rainfall and volcanic activity also at Mount St. Helens in the U.S., also in the French volcano of Piton de la Fournaise in the island of the Indian Ocean, the Soufriere Hills volcano of Montserrat also, and these are cases, anomalies, there are other symptomatic or larger scale processes. And if so, what are the commonalities between volcanoes and this rainfall phenomenon? He says, we currently think that in order for this to be a factor, volcanoes need to be particularly sensitive to conditions external to the volcano, that is, rainwater. So he says, we have no reason to believe that Yellowstone is prone to this kind of phenomenon. We're talking about the supervolcano. He also suggests that their research had implications for the importance of monitoring climate change, with evidence suggesting it can intensify rainfall. He says it's tough to extrapolate from this single example, but the fact that more extreme rainfall precipitation is anticipated in the future in many parts of the Earth suggests that understanding the potential coupling between the water cycle, hydrological cycle, and volcanism is an important area of research. The process we describe in the article is far from the only influence that rainfall might have near a volcano. The well-known phenomena is the generation of lahars, for example, the destructive mud flows caused by the mixture of volcanic debris with the water, which can devastate an area. Massive events such as landslides can also be driven by rainfall as well. So it's important to have full understandings of hazards associated with any given volcano. He says we don't want to be alarmists and say every time it rains near Kilauea there'll be an eruption. Rainfall is just one of the several complex factors, he says. He says, I have lost what I consider the most beautiful place in the world, one of the people there who lost their homes, but my troubles are minor compared to the people who are losing everything. So, okay, this is just one hypothesis. It's not evident yet, but this is one of their new theories having to do with the 2018 eruption. Of course, it also has to do with the magma coming in and flowing in. It's a hot spot. Okay, Hawaii is a hot spot. And another hot spot is Mount Etna. The Hawaii volcano is the most active volcano on Earth, and the second most active is Etna, which is now erupting in Italy, in the island of Sicily. This is by Kieran McGrath of Express UK. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.